This is Valley News Live at noon.
We're still tracking the case of police investigating reports of gunshots in North Moorhead. They got the call just before 10 last night from the 1500 block of 11th Street North. Police say they found a casing in the parking lot but did not find any witnesses. We do have questions into police and will bring you the latest when it's available. A pro-life organization says it knows where the new Red River Women's Clinic is in Moorhead and says they will start praying outside that facility immediately. The group, called Pro-Life Action Ministries, says it wants to stop the clinic from opening that Moorhead facility. The clinic has to move because of a trigger law that outlaws abortion in North Dakota once the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. The women's clinic now has until August 27th before they have to move. The pro-life organization says it knows it cannot legally stop the clinic from moving to Moorhead, but they are going to make it harder to do so. The organization did not release the location of the Moorhead clinic, and Red River Women's Clinic isn't disclosing their news site either. Let's take that live look outside right now for a check of your weather. Kind of overcast there in the Southern Valley on our Hankinson Skycam. Let's go on over to Summer Schnellbach for a check of that Wednesday forecast. Good afternoon, Summer.
Good afternoon, Jordan, and thank you all for joining us on this Wednesday. We've made it halfway through the week, and today is much cooler and windier as well. Those flags have got some good movement into them. And check out our temperatures, only in the 60s for most right now. We're at 66 in Fargo with an overcast sky. 70 in Fergus Falls, one of the warm spots, but also fairly overcast. And we're all seeing that northwesterly breeze sustained in the teens and 20-mile-per-hour range with higher gusts. Some areas have had gusts near 40 miles per hour already today, but most of us right now seeing those gusts into the 20s, a 32-mile-per-hour gust in Brainerd and Baudette. We do have some cloud cover draping across the Red River Valley, but I do expect some more sunshine later today. So a check of the next 3 days. Tomorrow, the heat and the wind increases from the south, hot and windy on Friday with a chance for some storms and a cooler weekend ahead. Jordan, I'll break down this in more detail coming up in just a little bit.
A lot to go over, Summer. Thank you. InfoWars host Alex Jones took the stand at his defamation trial. That trial will determine how much he must pay Sandy Hook Elementary School parents for falsely telling his audience that the shooting was a hoax. Courts in Texas and Connecticut have already found Jones liable for defamation for his portrayal of that Sandy Hook massacre. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi was in Taiwan this morning after receiving a warm welcome from government officials, including the nation's president. However, that trip has riled China, which considers Taiwan part of its one-nation vision. In response to what Pelosi called a trip that honors Taiwan's democracy, China has started to conduct military exercises. Trinity Chavez has more.
Nancy Pelosi to the self-ruled island democracy that China claims as its own. Defying threats from China, she is now the highest-ranking American official to visit Taiwan in a quarter of a century. While receiving an honor from Taiwan's president, Pelosi highlighted the decades-long U.S. commitment to Taiwan.
43 years ago, with the Taiwan Relations Act, America made a bedrock promise to always stand with Taiwan.
China considers visits by foreign officials as a sign of recognition of Taiwan's sovereignty, which China challenges. Across the narrow Taiwan Strait, China responded, announcing new military drills ringing Taiwan, and it warned that the U.S. would pay the price for undermining China's interests.
We don't want to see this spiral into any kind of a crisis or conflict. Again, we would say there's no reason to.
And today, before she departs Taiwan, Pelosi is expected to meet with human rights leaders, which could further rankle China. Trinity Chavez, CBS News, New York.
On Capitol Hill, senators are considering legislation to strengthen Taiwan's defense. The Taiwan Policy Act, which has bipartisan support, is expected to be discussed today. It would bolster Taiwan's defense capabilities. Some races are still too close to call in some of the most closely watched primaries across the country. In Michigan, NBC News has called the GOP race for governor for Tudor Dixon, and Eric Schmidt won his race to represent the GOP in Missouri's November Senate race. In Kansas, voters shot down a constitutional amendment seeking to end abortion protections in that state, making it the first time that voters have cast ballots on the issue since Roe v. Wade was overturned. In our consumer alert this afternoon, a popular baby bottle is now being recalled due to high lead levels. Take a look at that product right on your screen here. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says the markings on the outside of some of the Nux First Choice glass baby bottles contain lead levels higher than those that are set by the federal government. They were designed for newborn to 6-month-old babies and sold exclusively on Amazon. It's advised if you own one of them, you need to stop using it. Our consumer debt continues to rise. According to the New York Federal Reserve, it tops $16 trillion for the first time ever. Officials say most of the increase was driven by a jump in mortgage borrowing. Credit card balances increased by $46 billion, and it has jumped by over $100 billion over the past year. That's the biggest percent increase in more than 20 years. Americans opened 233 million new credit card accounts during the second quarter. That is the most since 2008. I Can Bike Camp is now back in town, teaching children with disabilities how to ride a bike. The camp started Monday and it will end on Friday. The Ann Carlson Center sponsors the event, and their vice president said it teaches neurodivergent children independence.
It provides an opportunity for individuals with disabilities to learn to ride bike and be independent. Ann Carlson's mission is to promote independence for all, and so what a better way than to learn to ride bikes so individuals can ride with their friends, with their families, and it's fun.
Sign up for that camp is closed for this year. However, they say it will return next year. Coming up at noon, beware of the tick. We all know the insect can carry Lyme disease, but there is another one you need to watch out for. But next, we're staying a bit cooler today. Summer Schnellbach has your midweek forecast.